President Trump's abomination of justice, legal wars, starting race wars.
Winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States, winning the White House and denying President Trump a second term. We're able to make this projection because CNN projects Biden wins Pennsylvania, the former vice president, in his third run for the highest office, pulling off a rare defeat of a sitting commander-in-chief. With this victory, Kamala Harris is set to become the first woman and the first person of color to be the vice president. Again, CNN projects Joe Biden will become the 46th president of the United States. And Jake, he is now President-elect Joe Biden.
The Biden and Harris illegal presidency, by voting fraud and corrupted justice.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Palmer International World Companies and End Time Angel Message Network. The title of this video is called President Trump's Abomination of Justice, Legal Wars, Starting Race Wars. Yes, this is what it is. It is a war that is coming. President Trump was denied justice in his election, and a war is coming because of that. He is not giving up. They're going to fight. They want this power so bad, and they're going to fight for it. They know this is an injustice. You know, I'm not a fan of President Trump, but I like fairness. I'm a fan of legal justice. I'm not a fan of corrupt justice. I love to have what is given to me. And he could never lose this election. When you look at the thousands and thousands of people he has in his crowds and rallies, you know that this man is a likable person. And it's impossible that Sleepy Joe could win this election. You know, it's almost impossible. The man is a gladiator, and he's going to fight. You know, he's going to fight. All these people who threw their votes into those ballot boxes, and they who was looking for a change in America lost it. And the Democratic Party cheated their way. They got dead people to vote. Joe Frazier voted 2 times. How could Joe Frazier vote? Joe Frazier's dead. You know, this is the kind of stuff that they're doing. Who knows? People who are 119 years old voted this stuff. Some people even got 2 votes, 2 ballot votes to vote. All at one time with their names on it. This is the type of stuff that's going on. If you don't believe it, watch this video and see what they're doing. There's a corruption going on, and it's a real bad corruption. And I know it's going to end up in the Supreme Court. And I know when it gets to the Supreme Court, they're going to say injustice anywhere is a travesty of justice everywhere. So stay tuned and watch this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, look what they did to this young lady. They sent her 2 ballots of votes to vote so she can vote twice to corrupt this election. Look at it for yourself. Here is the evidence. This is not something that I'm creating. This stuff is real, my friend. Look at it. Corruption at the worst.
Yati Chen came to this country from Taiwan and became a U.S. citizen in 2016. She's very concerned about following the rules in this very important election. But take a look. She's received 2 ballots, exact same spelling of her name, exact same address in Daly City.
When you got that second ballot, what did you think?
I'm thinking, what happened? What went wrong? What's the second one for? Which one should I vote?
And then she was like, which one is real? Which one do I use? Are they going to throw out my vote because I have 2 ballots?
Yati and her boyfriend contacted the I-Team to get to the bottom of it.
And she didn't know what to do. That's why I immediately contacted you, Dan. I've seen your shows over the years, and what you do is helpful to society.
They want to know, could this be an example of potential problems with the election that President Trump has been warning about as recently as last night at a rally in Florida?
So get out there and vote. Send in your absentee ballot if you've requested one. Be very careful. A lot of shenanigans going on. You see what's happening every day. You're reading it.
I went to the San Mateo County Elections Office for answers and found a steady stream of voters dropping off their ballots at a deposit box. I also met county election official Jim Irizarry and asked about Yati's duplicate ballots.
The issuance of 2 ballots is a normal and customary process in every election.
Irizarry tells me San Mateo County has 436,000 registered voters. Each is receiving a ballot in the mail, and he estimates 1,200 voters will get double or even triple ballots.
And ballots are generated twice when there is a change initiated by the voter or by the Department of Motor Vehicles for a change in address, a name change, and then automatically a second ballot would be issued.
Irizarry assures me the systems are in place to count only the first ballot to arrive from a single voter. Any additional ballots would be blocked. Yati Chen tells me she will follow the elections office instructions, vote just 1 ballot, and throw out the other one.
I really see this time it's very important.
Serious election fraud by turning off certain devices, so false vote can enter.
The election's not over, by the way. Somebody needs to be talking about Nevada. These lawsuits in Nevada are very promising. In Nevada, they have a machine to verify mail-in ballot signatures. If you don't have a signature on a mail-in ballot, then it's useless. The machine was basically turned off. So they ran millions of ballots through this machine, voting machine in Nevada, and the signature component of it was almost literally turned off, so they accepted every signature, whether it was fraudulent or not. They may win that lawsuit.
Well, Senator, you know, when you look at the various states, for the most part, tens of thousands of votes separate Donald Trump from Joe Biden. As we've heard from the experts, it's got to be some sort of systemic fraud, some gigantic thing. When you look at what has happened so far, what we know of, I mean, we haven't seen all the lawsuits perhaps that they will file, but what we've heard of so far, do you think any of those things have the chance of overturning any of the states?
Yes, I do. So let me just again tell you what I just said about Nevada. If you vote by mail and you don't have a signature, do you all agree that that's a sham? If I just send a ballot marked with Biden and in their signature, you could vote 1,000 times. So requiring a signature on mail-in voting is essential to make it lawful, right? Well, how do you verify the signature? You have 2 ways to do it. Human beings look at the signature, or the computer looks at the signature. What I'm telling you, they set up the computer in Nevada so low that it would accept any signature. Signature verification in Nevada was meaningless because they set the computer up on a setting where it would approve anything. They need to rerun these signatures through the system.
Who put the machine on that?
The Clark County voting machine signature ballot verification component of the computer was basically turned off. I am convinced if you ran these signatures through with the machine set at the proper setting, thousands of ballots would be found to be kicked out. You remember the story about people filling out ballots on the hood of a car? We have a witness seeing that they filled out ballots on a Biden-Harrison truck. Well, those are fraudulent signatures. If you don't have a system to check the signatures, mail-in ballots become just ballot stuffing. So what are they doing in Georgia? Are you looking at the signature? It's not enough to recount the vote. I want to make sure that the signature on a mail-in ballot is actually real. Does it match the database? And I can tell you in Nevada, they had the machine cut off. It might as well not had a machine. That's what's at stake in Nevada. And quite frankly, there are other places where that may have happened.
Very serious and criminal election fraud witnessed by workers and voters.
And again, we all saw this coming. President Trump saw this coming. Here's some of what has already been reported. A Michigan state senator posted this video online, purportedly showing a GOP poll observer being thrown out by election officials. Note the reaction from the poll workers. They're cheering. No concern there, right? Cheering every time we have someone escorted out of the room who's supposed to be watching what's going on. Likewise, Philadelphia's city attorney, an avowed anti-Trumper, refused to comply with a court order presented to her by Trump's legal team.
I don't understand what needs to be evaluated.
As soon as we can. So someone will respond to you in writing or come down and talk to you?
No,
the order's pretty clear. I've been a lawyer for 30 years.
Can you tell us what's unclear about it?
The city is evaluating it, and I can't tell you anything more than that.
I don't understand why 8 attorneys need to evaluate this order. My clients' representatives are to be within 6 feet of the process.
We have read the order, and we are complying with the order, and we will discuss it with you in a bit.
After we keep counting more votes, erode President Trump's advantage. Unbelievable. Now, this comes as no surprise, then, that all over Philly, GOP attorneys tasked with observing the polls reported being blocked from entering ballot counting sites. Why are they blocking them? What are they hiding? And out west, things are just as troubling. 2 days ago, the Attorney General there from Arizona found 18 unopened ballots hidden under a rock. Now, those ballots have since been returned, but it just shows you how vulnerable mail-in voting is to be tampered with. If that doesn't convince you, check out what's happening in Nevada. The GOP believes that Clark County officials have counted thousands of mail-in ballots from dead people and people who no longer live there. The party has also fielded thousands of complaints from voters, including Jill Stokey, who claimed this happened to her.
In years past, I always voted in person. This time, they mailed out the ballot, and somebody took my ballot. They also took the ballot of my roommate.
Guaranteeing the integrity of our vote is necessary for both parties. Vice President Biden says let every vote count. But that's foolish and would be illegal, as state laws require that certain parameters be met for voter eligibility. I couldn't go vote tonight if I wanted to. Should that vote count? In other words, we should ensure that every legal vote counts, to be specific and correct. Every improper vote cancels out a legal vote on the other side. That must never be allowed to happen. We need to make certain that most Americans, at least most of them, believe elections are won or lost in this country fair and square. And the fact is, right now, almost all of us who voted for President Trump, around, 70 million Americans or so, we have real concerns about this mail-in voting and how this vote is being conducted. We don't trust the people counting the votes. I'm sorry. There's good reason not to trust them. And a lot of Americans don't trust the local officials overseeing the process. And they certainly don't trust the media reporting on it, my goodness, given what we've seen. This cannot be allowed to happen ever again. President Trump, he understands this.
We're hearing stories that are horror stories, absolute horror stories. And we can't let that happen to the United States of America. It's not a question of who wins, Republican, Democrat, Joe, myself. We can't let that happen to our country. We can't be disgraced by having something like this happen.
I'm a registered Democrat in the city of Philadelphia. Today, I'm at the Philadelphia Convention Center, and I am overseeing the ballot counters. I will let you know the corruption that is going on here. They will not allow us within 30 to 100 feet to supervise the ballots being counted. This is a coup against the President of the United States of America, and I want to call out the Mayor of Philadelphia, James Kenney. the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, who tweeted that there's no way Donald Trump can win President of the United States of America, and also the District Attorney of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner. I can't believe what I'm seeing right before my eyes. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This has to do with our democracy, and I will tell you, there is corruption at the highest level in the city.
I got a badge. I got a badge right here. I'm observing people, and this gentleman, he's running. He's running. He threw me out. America, don't stand for this.
You're not letting me in? Well, what? No. That's why I tell you, call the police. Do it. If you legal, call the cops. I have a citywide watcher certificate.
It's not for this location.
It's not. This is the city of Philadelphia. This is the city of Philadelphia. This is the city of Philadelphia. You wanted to talk. You wanted to talk outside. Let's talk. I have a warrant. I asked you to read the line. The line said it's good in every ward and division in the city.
I'm wondering what's going on here. This dude has a fit about something. And then flips off a ballot and then crumples it up. That's not voting.
Mr. Baxter, whatever, had to go to the head guy because I want to see everyone's ballots, copy them down, copy on the precinct because they don't show up on any list. So I just grabbed one box. It's 500 names of people that are not on the registered, they're not on the supplement list.
Were you in there? She was in there this morning.
No, I've been in there all day. I just left.
And so why won't they let anybody into view?
Their capacity. They said there's capacity. In the morning, you could just walk right in. So I trained to walk right in.
Because of COVID, they're saying capacity?
We all have masks on.
No,
put our masks on.
I think it's the poll workers don't like us there. And they're very rude.
But you're allowed legally to go. It doesn't say there's capacity.
That's why we have the Supreme Court order.
And not to let us in the building?
Not to let you in the building. It's bizarre.
Because this building is not a capacity.
And there's those of us that leave.
And what have you seen?
I've seen ballots that don't belong to anybody. They don't show up in the voter registration. There's no name attached to them.
And what are they doing with those ballots?
I'm challenging them, and they're supposed to put them in a box to be then evaluated. But then multiple ballots that have several different numbers. One person with different numbers. We have whole lists of them. We're writing everything down all day long.
So are they improperly filled out and you're looking to disqualify them?
Yes. If they're improperly filled out, if they have no name, if they don't have a home, or if the person was born in 1921 but registered to vote in 1900, that kind of doesn't make sense.
So, but that's not on the ballot. When you vote, your ballot is just the balls and what you have on there. What are you seeing? Are you seeing people's registration forms?
Yes, we are.
So on the tables, you have the ballot, and then you are able to see next to them
on a computer screen.
On a computer screen, whose ballot that is.
Sometimes the ballot itself has no name, but the ballot is filled out.
Okay.
And then if we go into the registration file, we find the person that has been, was born in 1921, and it's just there's a lot that's not right.
What's wrong with being born in 1921?
But registering to vote in 1900, 21 years before you were
Alright,
born.
my name's Juan Caro. I'm gonna check a voter registration here really quick. William Bradley. I'm on the Michigan Voter Information Center. I was born in March of 1902. Get this zip code really quick. 48207. 48207. Alright, so I'm checking on the Michigan Voter Information Center for William Bradley, born in March of 1902. Our friend is registered to vote. Received his application, sent his ballot, and his ballot was received and counted. This man was born in 1902. I wonder how many more of these Joe Biden has.
Good morning. I'm Chris Padone. I'm going to give my account what happened. I was here, actually been here for quite a bit, and was here with members of the Trump campaign, and came in a media capacity to obtain content information on election night, and unfortunately was stereotyped in that regard, and you can take for that what you may, and was not able to obtain any type of access by any means, and got a little bit, I guess you can say assertive or aggressive is the word, so to speak, and the question was asked at 1:30 in the morning, why are you here? And our response was, well, it's election night. That's why we're here, and you guys are obviously counting ballots. And it was unique because they said they had an hour and a half left of counting to do, and an official came out who was kind and asked us to sign documents, and a few moments later we were asked to leave. Well, I find it ironic we were asked to leave within 10 to 12 minutes when they said they had an hour and a half of counting left to do.
Not in compliance. Our votes are being suppressed. We cannot count the votes properly. What's happening is they have moved the barrier up to 6 feet, but they took away the ballot machines that were in the front row and moved them to the back of the building. It's unbelievable what they're trying to do to our votes that have been legally cast. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, your legal votes must be tabulated, and they're not doing that. They will not let us see anything. They're trying to drown us out now where we can't be heard. We're not going away. And now we're going to take further remedy to fix this. There's a woman who was in there that Corey's going to talk to you about who represented the city with your tax dollars, and he's going to tell you what she's doing. But we are not going to stand for this. We're not going anywhere. They are defying a court order by a judge, and this is not the last of this.
Listen, guys, your taxpayer money here in the city of Philadelphia is going to a private attorney by the name of Michelle Hangley. And what she said was she would determine if the court order was valid or not. And I'll be happy to release the video of her. They have 8 attorneys fighting us to see these ballots inside. The court order is in effect. They will not give us access. And the sheriff has decided not to come down here to enforce that court order. The sheriff of your county will not come down and enforce a court order. What is going on in this city? What are you hiding? Open up the doors, let us in, let us 6 feet away so that we can have a free and fair election. Whether you voted for Donald Trump or you voted for Joe Biden, everybody has a right to witness what's transpiring here. This makes it look like a kangaroo court. We deserve better, and we're not leaving until we witness every single vote that transpires in here.
In 2016, the state of California, one of the states with more registered voters than citizens,
became the first state to legalize the practice of ballot solicitation. That is, the collection and delivery of ballots by third parties. With no trace of irony, this is called ballot harvesting. It works like this. In California, organizations with a clear political agenda are legally permitted to go to a location, say a nursing home or a church, and collect, literally harvest, ballots. The third party then transports these ballots to a polling place or an election office. This raises an obvious question. Once this third party collects the ballots, what's to stop them from changing them? Or from just throwing out the ones they don't like? On election night in 2018, California's Central Valley Republican Congressman David Valadao held a 5,000 vote lead over his challenger, Democrat TJ Cox. The margin was wide enough that the networks even called the race for Valadao the Republican incumbent. But wait. There were late ballots still to be delivered by the third-party vote harvesters. When those votes came in, they broke so overwhelmingly for Cox, in a historically conservative district no less, that Valadao's 5,000 vote victory became an 862 vote loss. In the first major election after ballot harvesting was allowed in California, Democrats won every single congressional seat in Orange County, which had been a Republican stronghold for decades. A year earlier, no sober person would have thought that possible.
The Republicans are talking about voter fraud right now. I know you've probably heard about them talking about that. But let's say that voter fraud was real. And because of it, Biden won the election. Because of how you feel about Trump, would you care?
No, not in the least bit. He's done enough to me and my family that I wouldn't care in the least, as long as he's out.
The Republicans, they're talking about voter fraud right now. But let's say for right now it's legit. If it was legit and it led to Biden winning, would you care?
Honestly, no. I mean, it was already, in my opinion, fraud when he won via the Electoral College in 2016 against Clinton. Pretty much the same thing now.
Would you care?
Well, you see, it's going to take me a hard time to think about it because I grew up with people who are very honest, very kind, very caring. I'm a very fair person. If there's any fraud somewhere else, it has to be checked. It has to be recounted. It does have to be checked.
All this is my grandmother's. I also support the cause, just saying. But
so your grandmother gave you all that?
She gave me all this. She has been attending these rallies she retired and this is all she did.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I want you to witness this portion of this video. This video called Shattered Union. It is a fight, an election fight, between two candidates. Mainly about a president called David Jefferson Adams. Very similar to Donald Trump, who is very unpopular. And as you know, this fight ended up in the Congress. And then from Congress, it went to the Supreme Court. And then there was war in the streets. War everywhere. Calamities everywhere. Great sensational fight that the most unpopular president got a second term. And I know this is just a movie, but movies can give you ideas of things to come. The streets were shattered with tanks, war machines, guns, bullets, riots. Everything you could think of was happening. The country was in chaos. Dangerous times were coming. People was running. People was looting. It was a destruction of the worst kind. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we're not hoping that this would happen, but you know, when angry people are angry, they do angry things. And all we can tell you is let's pray to God and hope for the best, because this is a troubling times. Because injustice anywhere is a travesty of justice everywhere. I don't think. If there is no justice, there probably will be no peace. Ladies and gentlemen, Listen carefully.
The sun now sets on your just campaign. Your merciful hand has spared many lives from the horrors of war, and they will speak of it for generations to come. Your victories were numerous, your strategic and tactical skills unmatched. Despite pressing need, you stayed your hand and saved the land from the ravages of nuclear war. You took pains to spare the economic and cultural centers. The mention of your name brings comfort to those who seek peace, and the remembrance of your deeds will inspire those who follow. The Union reforged whole. These troubled states united again under uncommon greatness. The restoration comes tomorrow. Tonight, they celebrate. Following a disputed election and a tie vote, the U.S. Congress installs the most unpopular president in U.S. history as David Jefferson Adams becomes the 44th President of the United States. Shortly after the election, increased unrest, rioting, and a growing number of militias have given rise to ever-increasing domestic terrorism. In response, the President invokes the Homeland Security Act and declares martial law on the West Coast and other areas of the country. Though highly contested, a Supreme Court ruling sidesteps the electoral process, disqualifying popular presidential candidates from several states. Public outrage explodes when a sham election leads to incumbent David Adams accepting a second term in office. During the 57th Inauguration Day ceremonies, Washington, D.C. is struck by a low-yield nuclear weapon, killing David Adams and most of the U.S. Congress. The destruction of Washington, D.C. effectively breaks the chain of succession, sending the nation into chaos. In an emergency vote, the European Union deploys peacekeepers in the greater D.C. area to secure international interests. With separatist sentiment rising, California's governor declares home rule and secedes from the Union. Texas follows quickly and declares sovereignty, taking neighboring states with them and forming the Republic of Texas. Now, the once United States of America lie in ruin. The time for words has passed, and a second American Civil War now erupts as 7 factions wage war across the land. They battle one another to reclaim a nation, to restore peace, to rebuild this shattered union.
The terror that will come if Trump's re-election is not approved.
Defiant supporters of US President Donald Trump held a rally in Washington on Saturday, a week after the presidential race was called for Democrat Joe Biden. They expressed their support for Trump as they marched to the Supreme Court to protest the election was stolen.
With voter fraud, now I see on the media them discussing there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. It takes one vote. If there's one vote that is fraudulent, that's enough for me. This isn't a research project. I'm not looking for statistically significant stuff. I'm looking for one evidence of voter fraud.
Once the evidence comes out, it's going to turn around and go his way. Because he's going to be president-elect 2020.
The demonstrations in Washington turned violent on Saturday when Trump supporters clashed with counter-protesters. 20 arrests were made and 2 officers were injured. The rally, labelled by Trump supporters on social media as the Million MAGA March, used the acronym for his Make America Great Again slogan. So far, the president has refused to concede his election loss, but election officials said Friday that the vote was the most secure in American history, the strongest direct rebuttal from federal and state authorities yet of the president's claim.
City of Philadelphia. Philadelphia is making historic turnout levels. We are here to make history. We are here to refute and reject and rebuke a fascist individual who is doing his last gasp because the only way he can win is to steal an election. And we are not going to let that happen. Am I right?
Hey, what did he do?
demonstrators were the Boogaloo Boys, who could be identified from their bright Hawaiian shirts they wear beneath their bulletproof vests. This became one of their symbols, their style, if you will. It's been reported in the American press that many of the movement's adherents are preparing for a second civil war.
I don't incite violence, I incite defense.
So Boogaloo, exactly what does that mean?
It just means, to us, it means revolution.
Revolution?
Yes, sir.
What kind of revolution?
Whatever revolution needs to happen, whether it be a mind revolution, or if the U.S. keeps going the path it's going, we will reinstill the Constitution into its rightful place as the supreme law of the land.
In one of your interviews, you talked about the French Revolution.
Yes, I did.
How they basically guillotined all the elite to start everything from scratch.
They got fed up with the way government was doing things, and they did a complete reset. And that's something I think is coming to the United States.
Is it a distant thing, in your opinion, or it is something that is right around the corner?
I can't really name a point where everybody would just rise up and say we're done. But we're in the early stages of a revolution as it is. You look at the civil unrest across the U.S., you look at groups like mine that are standing up and saying we're tired, we're done with it. We're already in the early stages of a revolution.
Severe riots and vandalism, brutal street fights, tear gas, rubber bullets, even public burnings of American flags and the Bible have all become regular sights in Portland. There are constant fights between left and right-wing activists, between Trump and Biden supporters.
It's been 5.5 months and nothing worse has happened. We haven't bombed any buildings yet. We haven't started any mass fires all across Portland or...
What do you guys make of the upcoming election? Because I've heard a lot of things that probably this is the most turbulent and
where we're at right now. With the upcoming election, I feel like if Trump ends up in office, what you've seen here was only a taste of what's about to happen.
If Trump gets reelected, we're going to civil war. You can pretty much guarantee it.
But when you say civil war, like, how do you picture this?
Citizens like me and him are going to have to take up arms against the police, against racist groups, just to be able to live.
Right now, we're breaking a city ordinance. Where the cops at? Where the cops at? Where are they? Where are they? I'm serious, like, where are they?
I mean, aren't you afraid that the country may be on the path that leads to greater civil conflict, revolution, civil war?
I do worry that we are headed down that path. I think it is, it is inevitable. Americans have 3 ways to voice their opinions. You have the voice box, you have the ballot box, and unfortunately, you have the cartridge box. I worry what becomes of our election. It's a wait-and-see approach right now. Trump doesn't get reelected, then blah, blah, blah is going to happen. Or if Biden doesn't get reelected, there's going to be more rioting.
Politics have become so polarizing, I don't see either side conceding, no matter which candidate wins.
Will you commit to making sure that there is a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. There is no more conversations happening. In the Boogaloo movement, you know, we do feel concerned for what happens when the talking stops.
I'm not calm him down! Don't shoot!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this final conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to tell you is very, very serious. This great riots, great magnified wars in the streets will be unbearable. The video you've just seen have given you a conclusion of a brief sampling of what is coming. If you for any minute believe that Donald Trump will not win again, you are wrong. He will win again. He will win in the Supreme Court. He may not win in the circuit courts, but he will win. There is too much evidence. The Democrats have played a very dirty game with this election. Stolen ballots, unmarked ballots, all the ballots going through. People casting double votes. Dead people. People been dead over 150 years. Still voting. All type of corruption. There is no court in the land that will support this. He will be reelected. And let me tell you, the people are going to go crazy. They're going to be war in the streets. They're going to be great dilemma. Great bloodshed. And I know it's coming. I don't want this to come. I don't want this to come to pass. But it's coming. My friend, prepare. Prepare your heart. Prepare your mind. Prepare your homes. Prepare your jobs. Prepare your food. Prepare your soul right with God. Prepare everything that you could think of. Because it's going to affect you anywhere in the world that you may be. Products from America will not come. Stores going to go out of business. Your country will be sabotaged. Oh, people, please understand. Prepare yourself. Donald Trump will win again. When you look at this compilation of evidence I provided for you, showing you the corruption that they have did, there is no way he could have lost this election. There is no way, my friend. But he lost. They cheated. I mean, some people voted, probably went around this voting circle 4 or 5 times, voting. This election is going to lead to a civil war. And he knows it. And the people knows it. Oh, my friend, let me give a prayer. Dear mighty God, the God of heaven, the God of peace, the God of all knowing good. Oh, dear God, help us and give us the patience that we can go through this great tribulation that's about to come. Help us that we can seal the pain and not get lost in the devil's trap. Help us not to be out there marching, but to just sit back and let you take cover. I beg this in the name of Jesus, the great God of all gods, Lord Jesus. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching my video.
Dear viewers, please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the red button and the notification bell, to keep updated with our product and services. We have some very exciting videos that will amaze you in overseas publishing and printing, beautiful gallery art, natural health, dangerous foods, and optimal nutrition, end-time climate disasters, Bible prophecies, and many, many more. Please subscribe, this is the channel you've been looking for. Please also, send a donation if you have been beautifully educated and this video has been helpful to you by MoneyGram. Thank you dearly.